You ever see a moment so powerful it shifts the entire room, like the air itself changes? That's exactly what happened the day a four-star general walked into a standard army office and saluted the quietest woman there first. No one knew what was coming. 1 second, it was just another Tuesday. Phones ringing, boots squeaking on tile, low chatter over reports. Soldiers shuffled between desks, caffeine-fueled and half-distracted. And then the door opened. In walked General Halverson, starched blues, rows of medals, eyes sharp like steel. Every soldier in the room jolted to their feet in a snap. You don't breathe wrong around that kind of rank. But what happened next? No one expected it. He paused, scanned the room, and walked straight past the officers, past the captains, past every person who thought they deserved his attention. His gaze locked on her, Private First Class Zoe Thorne, the girl no one talked to, the one always seated near the corner, scribbling in her notebook, eyes glued to a screen, barely saying 10 words a day. While everyone else swapped stories or argued about game scores, she just worked, quiet, unnoticed. And then the general saluted her. One guy actually dropped his pen. A few soldiers just froze, mouths slightly open, eyes darting between the general's face and Zoe's. She blinked, slowly stood up, and returned the salute without a flicker of emotion. Calm, controlled. But something in the room had shifted, permanently. What no one in that office knew was that Zoe Thorne had just prevented one of the biggest classified leaks in military history. Let's rewind a bit. 3 weeks earlier, high-level security systems across multiple U.S. Army divisions had been compromised. Sensitive files, troop movements, and strategic plans had been accessed by an unknown source. The Army's elite cyber team spent days trying to locate the breach, but everything looked clean on paper. Top brass were losing patience. No one had answers, and everyone assumed the leak had come from an external hack. Until Zoe noticed something. It started with a simple copy-paste error in a routine file log. Most people wouldn't have even spotted it. But Zoe's brain worked differently. Where others saw random digits, she saw patterns. She double-checked the log against her own backup, a document she'd kept just in case. They didn't match. She didn't raise her hand, didn't tell her superior. She just dug deeper. On her own, she ran a homemade algorithm, one she'd quietly built in her spare time. It tracked inconsistencies in digital signatures across classified networks. Within hours, it flagged an unusual anomaly, one that no official system had caught. An internal user ID had been rerouted through a masked server located overseas. That user ID belonged to a decorated colonel working in foreign intelligence. And the data he was leaking? Worth millions on the black market. Zoe knew if she went through the chain of command, he'd catch wind and vanish. So instead, she printed her findings, every log, every pattern, every shred of digital evidence, and mailed them directly to the Pentagon. No cover letter, no dramatic reveal. Just a sticky note that said, "This is where it starts. PFC Zoe Thorne." They arrested him quietly, swept it under the rug to avoid international fallout. But at the highest level, everyone knew who cracked the case. So when General Halverson walked into that office days later, he wasn't there for protocol. He wasn't there to meet brass or shake hands. He came for her, the quiet one, the one no one invited to lunch, the one everyone mistook for a shy admin clerk. He handed her an envelope. Inside was a promotion, a commendation, and transfer papers to Cyber Defense Command, where she'd be leading a new team of analysts, from invisible to irreplaceable, overnight. As Zoe gathered her few things, the room stayed silent, not out of awkwardness, out of respect. Real, hard-earned, spine-straight respect. And before she walked out that door, she turned just once and said, "It's always the quiet ones. We just listen better." That line stuck with everyone, and from that day forward, no one ever called her just anything again. See, the loudest voice in the room doesn't always carry the sharpest mind. Real brilliance doesn't need to shout. It shows up, does the work, and leaves people speechless. If this story moved you even a little, comment yes, and tell us where you're watching from. Your engagement keeps this channel alive. Like, share, and subscribe. The next story might be the one you needed.